If you want to know the fastest way to gain XP and gain tons of Abyss Artifacts, you are in the right place. With more than 80 hours of experience, I've just said all of the earliest Abyss Artifacts farming methods so I can save you the guesswork and a lot of time. You will gain a lot of extra Abyss Artifacts after following this guide so you can be overpowered in the earliest time possible. You can pretty much gain Abyss Artifacts by just completing both of the main and side quests in the game, or by solving intricate puzzles. Of course, it will take ages, so manually farming XP and Abyss Artifacts are indeed viable options, so you can progress your skill tree and have access to strong upgrades in the earliest parts of the game. The camp respawning method pretty much gives you a lot of locations or spots to farm XP. And for those who doesn't know, yes indeed, your characters accumulate XP in this game. And the yellow bar besides your minimap is your XP bar in a sense. Once the yellow bar reaches 100%, it will give you an Abyss Artifact for your upgrade needs. The camp respawning method will allow you to farm respawning enemies in all the camps around the map, as long as a mini-boss or an elite enemy is guarding the location remains alive. So you can use this method till late game, especially if you don't prefer the upcoming methods on this list. For this example, I will use the 4th Warspike Bandit camp and show you how the method works. And I am showing the location of the camp on the screen right now. To make this location overrun by bandits, you need to progress all of your House Roberts faction quest, and then the House of Circus faction quest will be unlocked. You will be completing just 2 quests under the House of Circus, and then 4th Warspike will be infiltrated by bandits, and liberating this camp will fall under the banner of House Alfonso. Since all of the combat methods in this guide falls under the early game, you can use any weapon and armor that you want, since all of the enemies at this point in the game are pretty easy to clear. Getting and wearing the plate boots of the shadows is suggested but not really required and nice to have because of the 10% skill XP bonus it provides. If you want to get the boots first, this video will show you all of the shadow pieces along with the best early upgrades that you can get without fighting any bosses. Find the video in the description or by clicking the card here. Starting the actual method from the Abyss Nexus, located near our key location. What I usually do here is run through the west portion of the base and skip any bandits for now. You can actually use your horse if you want to have faster travel time. Then access the wooden scaffolding, which has even more bandits on it, but skip them for now. And our goal is to access the inner section of the camp as soon as possible. For us to do so, we need to access the upper mountain area in front of you so we can get over the walls without a hassle. Jump over the wall and glide your way in, and you can already see the elite enemies that you need to avoid. Head to the main campgrounds near the entrance, and this is where we will start the killing. You will notice right away that a lot of bandits will start to line up in front of you, so swing your weapon like there's no tomorrow and destroy everything. Since this is an early game, the blinding light finisher is the best crowd control skill you have, so spam it whenever it's ready. And after a couple of minutes, enemies will start to dry out, so it's time to respawn the enemies. You can do so by climbing through the nearby watchtower and using it to escape the campgrounds. Glide your way through in the direction where there are no enemies so you can disengage quickly and lose the enemy's attention. After losing the enemy aggro, fast travel back to our key nexus in this area to repeat the process. Just access the campgrounds again and you will see the soldiers in the campgrounds are ready to be farmed again. Keep in mind as well that even the enemy percentage becomes 0, enemies will still respawn as long as the elite boss is alive. I'm showing the actual boss on the screen right now so you can avoid him at all costs. This is what the boss looks like, and he tends to follow you as well in our main farming location, but most of the time he does not. But if he follows you, try your best not to kill him. If the boss dies, you will lose the ability to respawn all of our enemies in this location. The Red Devil minions is the best method when it comes to manual XP grinding in the early game. This method will allow you to farm Red Devil minions endlessly, giving you tons of XP in the process. But the main caveat of this method is that you can only access it as long as the Red Devil boss is alive, or the major boss of Chapter 3. You can access this quest and method after progressing the story of Chapter 3, and the game will ask you to hunt the Red Devil. There's no way for you to miss this quest as this is part of the main scenario. While tracking the Red Devil, the game will lead you to a series of cliffs that have these rotating totems which will spawn our key targets without limits later on. But don't stop at any totem just yet, and I suggest heading to the exact location on the screen right now. This long curved pathway offers 3 rotating totems that are placed very near to each other, and this is where we will do our farming. Start the actual method by just using your heavy attacks to kill every minion that spawns in the area. The heavy attacks do not have combo locking finishers, so your kills will be faster compared to your light attacks. What I usually do is stand between the 2 totems, and I notice that I get a faster respawn rate by doing this. So after a couple of minutes of farming, just in case the 2 totems slows down on respawning enemies, this is the time you access a third one near your location to spawn the enemies. Compared to the camp respawning method that we just talked about, this spot offers better XP per enemy. In just 30 to 40 minutes, I managed to gain 6 to 7 Abyss Artifacts already, which is a lot. Just in case you want to preserve the method and don't want to continue the main story, you can access this method anytime as long as the Red Devil is alive. And of course, if you have already defeated the Red Devil, the previous method is your best bet if you prefer straight killing enemies. And if you are getting value so far, subscribe to the channel. Liking the video and engaging in the comments helps me more than you can imagine. Or consider supporting us on Patreon or by becoming a channel member today. And I appreciate your support. But what if I told you that you can steal Abyss Artifacts easily from key NPCs? The Beggar's End method will allow the player to steal Abyss Artifacts from the beggars in Hernan. For some reason, these beggars can spawn with Abyss Artifacts that you can snag for yourself. And before you ask, yes, this is completely working even after the latest patch today. And I have tested all of these methods extensively. There are 2 major beggar camps in the town of Hernan. The first one is near the jail area of the town, and the other one is located in the outskirts of Hernan. Pretty sure by now that you've already activated the Nexus in town, and this is going to be our main starting point for this run. For the actual method, I will show you a run without any Abyss Artifact gain so you can see the farming route clearly. Starting the actual method from the Abyss Nexus. And the first step is calling your horse. I will also slow down the method here so you can follow along nicely. What we need to do here is to ride our horse through the main streets of Hernan, all the way to its jail area. Past the jail area, I will start to slow down while approaching the first beggar's camp. After reaching the beggar's camp, notice as well that I am still riding my horse while scanning all of the beggars with focus light. This will stop the beggars from clinging to you, and this will save you a lot of time. Then what I will do next is I will carefully scan every beggar in the area and take your time since there are a lot to cover here if you're gonna be doing this yourself. If no Abyss Artifacts respawn in the first camp, proceed to the second camp while speeding up your horse a little bit. Then I will slow down and enter the inner section of the second camp and start scanning bodies for artifacts. Watch my actual path in here as this is the fastest route to check every beggar in the camp without missing one. We will go through a narrow pathway in here just to get to the other side of the camp where more bodies are ready to be scanned. You will find yourself in one of the main entrances of the camp, so head to your right while following the main road while trying to scan the beggars near the roadside. I suggest running this method at night since it is much easier for you to spot the artifacts. Once you cover all of the bodies, head down from your horse and fast travel back to the Nexus to reset the run, rinse and repeat. And before we move on to the actual farming results, here's the actual route on paper showing on the screen right now, so you can easily get used to it. While I am showing you my farming gains per hour, I will also show you some of my successful runs in the background, showing that the method works really well. Each run usually lasts around 2 minutes and 2 minutes plus, and my data on the screen right now shows my actual results for each attempt. You can totally see here how the rates greatly vary, and it is possible to score 0 artifacts consecutively. In an hour of consistent farming, this data shows that I got a whopping 10 Abyss Artifacts. But take note as well that this is a good hourly run. In the multiple hours that I ran, I usually averaging around 6 to 7 Abyss Artifacts, and that is still a lot if you ask me. A couple of tips here before we move on. There are instances as well that you will be sent straight to jail after stealing an Abyss artifact in this area, and this only happens when stealing from beggars. So if that happens, you will lose your bandit mask in the process, so just buy one if that happens. Or you can try removing your bandit mask in every successful attempt just to be on the safe side of things. Sometimes removing my mask works, sometimes it doesn't. The Schola Stone stealing method is hands down one of the best Abyss artifact sources in the game. This method will give you a great chance of stealing Abyss artifacts per run, even up to a whopping 2 artifacts per run, because of the sheer number of scholars located in our key location. And as mentioned previously, you don't really need to worry about whether this method is actually working, since I tested this a lot after the recent patch. Find the Schola Stone Institute southeast of the town of Hernan. And once you arrive at the location, make sure to activate the Abyss Nexus in the area, as we will use this to reset our method later on. And before heading to the actual method, make sure that your in-game time is around 12 PM to 5 PM, since I've noticed that a lot or a ton of scholars are wandering in the area in the said time window. Heading straight to the actual method, well, you will see a godly run of getting 2 Abyss artifacts, and you heard that right. From the Abyss Nexus, hop on your horse and start scanning the scholars around you, if there's any that is. Keep in mind as well that the respawn location of the scholar vary in each run. After scanning the nearby scholars, if there's any, what I will do here is to access the mini town square with monuments on it. Then next is I will follow the circular path in a clockwise motion while scanning the scholars in the process. Another tip here is that you can press the X button or speed up button of the horse twice while still maintaining your focus light to scan the surroundings if you want to increase your speed. After scanning the mini park area, access the 2 consecutive stone staircases leading to the upper area. After the stairs to your left, there's another mini fountain area in here that we will explore in a clockwise motion. Then access the long bridge that leads to the main entrance of the institute while scanning the scholars along the way. There are a lot of scholars loitering in here, so keep that in mind, so take your time. Once inside the entrance, head to your left first and scan the scholars just chilling outside of their classroom area. Then do a 180-degree turn to access the hallway that will lead us to our next key location. This hallway will lead you to a mess hall area where a lot of scholars are located. And bam! Our first Abyss artifact for this run. Move down from your horse and prepare to bump the scholar so we can steal our precious artifact. Crime Circle will take effect as usual, so escape the circle as fast as you can and head back to the path as fast as you can. I will be fast forwarding this part so no cuts will be made so you can see the effectiveness of this route. Until we are back on the path we left off, take a sharp right turn to scan and cover the first long table. Then what I usually do here is scan the scholars located on the separate table on the right, and also the scholars around it. The next step is heading to the middle part of the long tables, and I will scan all of the scholars sitting in the middle on both sides. After the middle part of the area, I will then take a sharp right turn and enter the storage room on the right, where a lot of scholars are lounging. And there we go, our second Abyss artifact for this run, so you know what to do here. Move down from your horse, bump the scholar, and steal the artifact. And as usual, escape the crime scene, which I will be fast forwarding again until we are back on the original path we left off. To complete the farming route and starting from the storage, the only thing that is left here is scanning the third set of the long tables that we haven't had the chance to cover. Then access the open area just ahead of you. Hop down to your horse and fast travel back to the Nexus to rinse and repeat. And before we move on to my farming data, here's the actual route on paper, and I tried my best to draw this for you to get a different perspective of the farming route. This farming spot is right down insane, and each run usually lasts around 2 minutes and 30 seconds to 3 minutes plus. Doing this method for an hour, and we are looking at a whopping 12 Abyss artifacts per hour. But as always, don't always think that you will be getting 12 Abyss artifacts per hour, and this is simply my best results so far. Succeeding hourly sessions is averaging around 7 to 9 Abyss artifacts per hourly run. It is highly possible as well that you will be getting 0 Abyss artifacts consecutively, and my data clearly shows the results here. Another tip here is that when you find a scholar sitting on one of the long mess hall tables with an artifact, draw your sword until the poor guy stands up so you can steal the goodies. Truly the best source of Abyss artifacts, but what if you want to have the absolute best upgrades that you can get early without fighting any boss? This video will guide you on everything that you need to know, so click on it and I will catch you on the next one.